In this video, I'm going to unbox, build, and paint the solar farm from Sarrisa Precision. So this came in the Strontium Dog Starter Set, the good, the bad, and the muty, and it comes with instructions and, you know, the laser cut MDF terrain. So we're going to start putting it together. So first thing I do is I started popping out the main building, which is kind of the centerpiece of this. And I gotta tell you, man, I've had a bunch of stuff from Sarrisa, and this is really, really good stuff. I do like what they do. You know, you take it apart. I use Gorilla Glue, Super Glue, the gel. It seems to work out pretty good. I never really have an issue with it. You know, holds it together. The instructions are really easy to follow, and here I am just basically putting it all together. Now the roof was a little tricky. You know, you got these two half circles, I guess you'd say, and you put them on here. You know, and I would just suggest while you're doing this, make sure everything's glued and before you move on, because I get a little impatient, so you got to kind of wait for the super glue to really dry. Now I know a lot of this MDF terrain, they come with this. It's kind of like a cardboard or a thick piper that you would use. I'm not really a huge fan of it. All right, and with this, these were kind of like the awnings and also the dome of the roof, kind of like that the half circle of the roof. So with this, it was a little tricky getting the pegs into the holes, but once they're in, you know, they stay pretty good. It was pretty solid. They're not that sturdy though. You know, they can break. So I figured later on, once I paint it and throw the varnish on it, it could be pretty good. Alright, so now this was a little tricky because there's 3 holes on each side. You got to put the paper on the roof, and I had to hold it for a while. Like I said before, just make sure that the glue is dry, and you got to kind of perforate it along the perforations just to make sure it gets on there. But once you do it, it's comes out really nice. I think this was okay, but it's still paper cardboard. It actually has a really nice fit. Now, taking the roof, very easy. I've seen some videos. Guys were leaving the roofs off. I guess the guys to go inside and whatnot. I just decided to glue it to the top to make it a little more sturdy. And there you go. There's the, I guess, the main house where everybody kind of hangs out on the solar farm. Okay, next we're going to put together the solar panels. This was pretty easy to do. A few parts, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, use the glue them together, make sure they fit. Before I did this, though, I did dry fit everything. I would suggest you do that so that you know where everything goes and if it does fit. There was a few times I had to take a X-Acto blade, just kind of loosen it up, make sure everything fits correctly. So now there's 2 of these. There's 2 smaller angles, and then there's 2 larger angles. So you'll see when I'm done, I'll show you all 4 of them. What I did, I used a table and I just kind of pushed the legs or the struts through it to make it easier. And there you go. And then the last thing to do is put the cover on. And there's the finished product. And here's all 4 of them, so you see some of them are a little bit higher angle and stuff. I love these little things. They really make the set. Alright, next is the, I guess, a power generator or something like that. Maybe a wind turbine. I don't know, but here we go again. We're using the paper. Now, I would suggest you kind of fold it and score it and make sure that everything folds good. And then you could start adding the glue. So now these are the axles that the gears would go through. Out of all the stuff, this one was a little tedious because it was a square onto the base, and you know, it's like I said, it's that cardboard, which I'm not a big fan of. I would have rather had the MDF and glue it all together, but I guess this makes it easier for the company to put out. It does come with an MDF base, makes it a little bit easier to put everything there. Now this took a while, man. This was kind of a pain in the butt. But there it is. It's all glued together finally, and now we start putting the gears on. This, follow the instruction. There's a bunch of gears. A few times I had to take them apart, use a little X-Acto knife. There's the knife there, making sure everything was in. But that's the one side done. All right. I didn't do every single one because I figured, you know, some of them would be there, but you got to make sure they're in the right place because it won't fit into the base correctly. These are the legs, just to, I guess that's what sits on the floor. Gives it a little raised appearance, though. But you'll see when it's done, it is pretty cool. So I guess this would be the control gear side, you know, where you pull the levers and the pulleys to make sure that it works, or to get more power, or whatever, you know, whatever you're going to use this for. Yeah, you got to use the X-Acto knife. It was popping out some of the MDF that was still in there to make the hole that you could slide it into. And you really, really have to follow directions because this thing sits on the base, and some of the gears have legs that fit into the base to make it more sturdy. So this is the one that took a while. It did take a while. Some things fit, some things didn't, and I didn't want to push too hard because I didn't want to break or damage what I did on the other side, or even damage the base, or damage it kind of looks like a boiler. What I did was I just put some glue on the end, you know, let it seep in there so that wouldn't come down. You know, I was pushing it down a few times. I don't want to glue my hands together like I did a bunch of times before. And there it is, finished. It's pretty cool. Now we're going to put it on the base. This is another thing. It's MDF, but then I was hoping the base that it sits on would be MDF, but it was paper. And what you got to make sure you do is line up everything here. And I have a little piece of plastic card that I kind of helped to push it down so that I wouldn't glue it to the table. the whole time I'm just kind of fitting it and pressing it and pushing it, just to make sure everything is done. Now the last thing for this is the wind turbine. And this was pretty straightforward, just a little bit of glue. As you can see, the base is MDF, but then the little fins there are made of paper, that cardboard paper. Like I said, I'm not a fan. I must have said it a bunch of times, but I don't know. This when it's done, you'll see. It kind of won me over a little bit. I would suggest, though, I sometimes tend to push things a little too hard. This, you got to really finesse it, because if you bend the paper, it's not going to look good. Now I had to decide, do I want this thing to spin or do I want it to sit? So what I decided to do was just glue it in there in a fixed position so that it'll be sturdy. A lot of moving parts and whatnot. I figured, what the hell, let's just keep it in one thing. When you do it, you could do it any way you want. If you have a cool way of doing it or how you did it, let me know below, because I'd really love to hear how you did this. And there it is. So now, with all the glue and everything running, actually, the frustrating thing, it was pretty cool. But, now it's time to paint everything. So let's get to it. Here we go with the putting some coats of paint onto the solar panels. I wanted to make these silver, and then I figured I would weather them up later on. I figured they have to be shiny. And the inside would be black because, obviously, like a solar panel. With this, I went with a rust color. I really do like this from Badger Air. I'm using my Badger Chrome, and I really, when I do airbrushing, I really love the Badger paints. That's what I kind of exclusively use. They cover good, just going through it here. Get a few coats on there. I wanted to give it the rusty color on the outside. Now the main house, the reason I did it this way was I was looking at some stuff from Highway 66, abandoned gas stations, whatnot, and I saw that a lot of them were white. And I thought, this would be cool on the table. If, we do our Mars mat, which is, it's a red mat. The white would kind of look good against it. So, just put a little bit of white on here. And then I did with the red roof, just to make it look good. I thought it looked like a chevron. There's a little bit of red there that I cleaned up later on, just to make it clean. And here we go. Put them on a turntable. So here's the power converter. I'm calling it that. Weathered it up. Looks good. You can't tell what's paper and what's not. Now the next thing I'm a little upset about is that the paint and the building of the guard tower was corrupt, so unfortunately I didn't get to it, but here it is. I really like it. I put some hazard stripes on top. Don't go close to the edge, but it's really cool. When you do weather these up and chip them and rust them, they really bring a new life to it. And here's the main house, just weathered up really. I didn't want to go too crazy, but it had to be lived in, but not too damaged. I think in the future, as I play and I hang out with these guys and we put them on the table, I might add some things to it. But right now, just to get it on the table, quick, fast, and easy. And here are the solar panels. Like I said, these little guys are my favorite things. Really good line of sight blocking terrain, and it just adds to the whole aesthetic. So, that was after the paint. Let's see what it looks like all together. And here is the whole ensemble. I got to tell you, man, the Strontium Dog Starter, if you haven't seen the unboxing that I did and the review, you should go check it out. it comes with a ton of awesome stuff. By having the Sarrisa in there, I can't stand 2D terrain, but having 3D terrain really, really, really made the difference. I love this set. I think that this is really cool, and I can see this being used not only for Strontium Dog, but, you know, we could throw this into Dread or any other kind of sci-fi skirmish game. I just really, really love these models. I think it's great. Let me know what you think, because I always want to hear from you guys. But everyone, thanks for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. You know, we're going to be bringing you some Strontium Dog, some Dread, Bat Reps as far, and also we got a bunch of other videos that you might like. We also have a Patreon if you're so inclined to help us out. We would love to have you as part of the family. So from the bottom of my heart, take care. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next one.